Hello and welcome to Football Show Monday. It's nice to be with you today. I hope the internet shutdown has not affected you wherever you are. Obviously, we know Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp are all down at this very moment. We're chatting to you, but thankfully, YouTube is still okay, and of course, we're able to broadcast to you live from London to wherever you're watching us from. And it's the Football Show again. My name is Wale. It's nice to be with you to chat about football, especially as it relates to African footballers around the world. I am not alone today. I've got my friend and colleague, Amos Joseph, with me. Amos is obviously a very well versed person in regards to sports and especially football. Amos is in Sheffield today, and he will be a regular face on the football show Monday from henceforth, well, for the time being. So, Amos, thank you for joining us on the show today. Thank you. How's Sheffield today?
Yeah, it's cool.
Sheffield is good.
To be honest, it's good to be on the show this evening. I must say, Sheffield is very cool.
That's good.
You know what it is. It's getting to winter, and then everyone is
Yeah,
trying to prepare. So just get whatever it is you need to get to keep yourself warm. That's
exactly.
what's most important at this point in time. And then for football, there's a lot going on around football. African footballers moving from one club to another, and then
Hmm.
they change in coaches, and then how it affects players, and then the international break as well. And I'm sure we're going to
Mm,
get into that as well as soon as time goes on.
definitely. And obviously, Sheffield, one of the darling clubs of Sheffield, Sheffield United, are obviously out of the Premier League now and trying to stage a comeback from the Championship. What do you think? Do you think we might be seeing Sheffield United back in where they belong, actually, in the Premier League at some point, probably next season?
Well, I've seen a couple of their games, and they look like a team that keeps going up and down. Consistency is not there yet, but I
Mm,
think the coach has got a plan. The game I saw against Huddersfield, they have this character of playing to the end and then losing it towards the end of towards the end of the game, and I feel
mm,
like that has befell them in quite a number of matches. So if you go back and watch what Sheffield United is doing, and then you just realize that, towards the end of the game they tend to lose it somehow, carelessness at the back, and then they just get to lose the ball at the back, just on the arc. And then you're like, what's going on with this club? What's going on with these guys? They
mm,
lost that game 2-1, and I was so pissed because I saw quite a number of fans were out to watch them cheering. It was 1-1 nil, it became 1-1, and then became 2-2. They lost that game. It was so disappointing. I think they've also had some good journeys. They've gone away to pick some points, which I think is good for them. But where they are right now, they're looking very good. They're not looking too bad. It's still early days into the championship, and they seem to have to be picking themselves up, because in their last three games, they've been scoring. They've also been scoring quite a number of goals, which I think was lacking from the beginning, from the very beginning.
mm,
So they seem to be finding their feet, because going forward, what I saw with Sheffield United was they lack ideas in the final third, and then just say in the last four games or thereabout, I saw that problem was being solved. They started hitting the goals, scoring four goals, scoring three goals, which I think is very good for them. But in the last two games, they've been faltering. So, but it's still early days. Just about how
mm.
many games? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So that's how
Exactly.
things. Yeah, and you know how competitive the championship is. It's
Obviously,
very
yeah.
tough, very tough one.
Very, very,
It's not for the weak.
very, 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 very tough. Yeah, talking about the Premier League, obviously the biggest news as far as it affects Nigerian players in the Premier League was the sack of Cisco Munoz at Watford, and Watford's more like a second home to Nigerian footballers now. We've got about probably 5 to 6 players there that are of Nigerian heritage that play for that club. And True Sekong, who is the vice captain of the Super Eagles, is a
Hmm.
mainstay of that club. and obviously he's send his best wishes to Sixto, who got the boot earlier this was it just yesterday? And
Yesterday.
yeah, the thing about Watford is they've got this is about their 17th, a manager that's going to get the boot in the past 10 years. It says a lot about them. But now Ranieri's coming in, Claudio Ranieri. Everybody knows who Claudio Ranieri is. He was at Chelsea. He moved to in between, moved to Leicester, did wonders with Leicester, and Leicester won the Premier League Cup. Sorry, the Premier League. Do you see where do you see the Nigerian boys going from here now that they lost the manager and I actually had confidence in them? We've talked about Trusekong, Etebo is there, Emmanuel Dennis, who obviously we will say was a Cisco signing because he brought him from Belgium, obviously, and of the other boys there. Where would you say, do you think the coming of Ranieri will keep that momentum up for the Nigerian boys?
I think first of all, I want to start from the point in the point made by the club with regards to the statement that a negative trend, I was beginning to wonder, okay, what exactly is a negative trend? So they've got just 7 points from 7 games, which is not too bad. They're still 15th on the log. They've got like 4 teams or about 6 teams or thereabout below them. And playing against Leeds will never be easy, even for most of the top flight. It's never an easy game playing against Leeds United. But I saw,
Mm.
or what I can see from the statement of the club statement is that they look at the next couple of games, 8 games. They've got 8 games lined up, and it's going to be hell, for the club. And I feel like, okay, it's not actually negative trend after all. It's going forward. Because what they saw is that, oh, we're going to if we're not able to put to bed the guys that we've played earlier, the likes of Leeds, the likes of not, and then how are we going to play Leicester City? We're going to play Liverpool. We're going to play Manchester United. We're going to play Everton. You're going to play Tottenham. You're going to play Arsenal. You're going to play Chelsea. You're going to play Man City. They're going to play Man City. They played Arsenal actually. They're going to play Man City. So they've got like 8 tough games lined up for the future. In the
Mm.
next couple of 8 games, it's going to be really tough for them. And I think what the management is trying to do is to salvage the situation. Although it is cruel for me, I think it's too early to fire a manager right now.
Yeah.
It's way too early.
Hmm.
It's not so bad yet, but I feel like they're just trying to salvage the situation. And then going to the Nigerian players who are playing in Watford, I think these are not lazy players. For Claudio Ranieri, I'll call him a hard worker, right? Ranieri is someone who is tactical, is more defensive minded, and he always prefers players who will work very hard. He plays much more of a 4-4-2 formation where you have,
Yeah.
so it requires a lot of strength. It requires a lot of play. It requires players who can work very hard. And look at Trust Ekong, look at Etebo, look at Emmanuel Dennis. These are top players. These guys are not jokers. They are not jokers at all. But unfortunately, Etebo is injured now. And
Hmm.
in my head, I'm beginning to wonder, oh, Ranieri is coming, Etebo is out injured. If he doesn't find himself in the good books of Ranieri on time, there might be a problem for him, and that's the reality. But for the guys who are fit, you know, Emmanuel Dennis is there. He's a good player any day, anytime. He's proven himself at the top stage. Trust Ekong is there. He's also proven himself, and he's not a child when it comes to playing in the Premier League as well. All I see is just he's just going to try and remain in the league because I'm trying to see if the club is going to give him any targets and say they can't possibly ask him to go win the league. They won't possibly do
Yeah.
that.
They probably might look at what he done with Leicester and say, okay, come on, just wave your magic wand again and go and win the league.
Honestly, they won't possibly ask him to do that. But why fire the manager? Because he's going to stay
Mm.
in the league anyway. He's not
Yeah.
going to go down. And I'm sure if Cisco had remained the manager of Watford, he wouldn't go down. So why bring on somebody else? Perhaps they just wanted Cisco to start the job, then bring on somebody else. And if you look at the pedigree, or if you look at the credentials of Watford since the owners took over, the coach who has spent the maximum number of days is about 500 days, you know, around 500 days.
It's
And you begin to wonder,
amazing.
that's less than 2 years. So no coach has been, it's just like the Chelsea style. It's just like the Chelsea, hey, you don't get us what we want, you get booted.
Bye bye. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Take
next the
us to the
next
Premier
person does the job.
And but I begin to wonder, for a club like Watford, what or where is promised land for them?
Mm,
That Cisco is not able to deliver. So, and I just don't understand it, except they're just obsessed with getting someone who is of that caliber, you know, of
mm,
a Ranieri caliber. But we also have to realize that Claudio Ranieri has not coached a top side since when? Aside from Roma, he went to Nantes,
Sampdoria. Sampdoria.
Sampdoria. Where did he get them to? That's the question. What kind
Mm,
of football does he
mm,
play now? What kind of football is being played in England at the moment? Look at what Brighton is doing. Look at what Brighton did to Arsenal at the weekend.
yeah.
Can
Yeah.
he face a Brighton? So those are some of the questions that he's going to answer going forward. But I also feel like they look at those fixtures and say, oh, but is it about the coach? If you're going to play Chelsea, you're going to play Man City, you're going to play, but it might also come with some level of experience. If you've got someone in the mold of Claudio Ranieri, he knows how to stay in the league. He understands how
Mm,
to remain and how not to go down. I feel like it was a panic button that was pressed at Watford. It was a panic button.
shame. And there's another Nigerian that quite a lot of people probably would not want to give a shoe in, and he's been there for a long time, for a while. Isaac Sock. I'm talking about Isaac Success.
Mm.
He came with so much promise, but he's not been able to fulfill that potential of what he's got. What would you say is his problem? Where is he? Where is he missing? He's played under about what, 3, 4 coaches now at Watford, and he comes in, show brilliance, and then the next 3, 4 games he's just out of the team. He's injured, and he seems to be losing focus. What would you say is wrong with him at that club?
I think his success has moved now, right? So I think he has moved to a club in Italy. I'm just trying to see that. I think he moved to Udinese
Yeah.
recently. He recently made a move to Udinese. So, but for Isaac Success, he stayed too long in Watford, not hitting the top mark. And for someone like Isaac Success, some people say, oh, he's enjoying London, he's enjoying the life in England, and he's getting into his head. But the reality is that there's no player who doesn't want it, who doesn't want to play, right? No
Mm,
footballer in this world, they want to play, but the
mm,
but the issue is playing versus having fun, enjoying yourself. Are you able to balance it? Are you able to ensure you remain professional with your
mm,
job? And there's this thing with African players, often said about African players, once they get to the top, remaining at the top is often a problem. Look at people like
mm,
Ronaldo. Look at people like Lionel Messi. They've been
mm,
on top for quite some years. Look at Mbappe. Look at Neymar. These guys have been at the top and they've refused to drop. So it's sometimes crazy when you think about Cristiano Ronaldo and you're like, this guy has been there for longer years, for a very long time. That's top level professionalism. So I feel like for someone like Isaac Success, it needs to be he needs to add some more professionalism. If that is the case, he needs to add some more professionalism. But I wish him well in Udinese. Probably if he gets some more playing time at Watford. How many games did he play? How many goals did he score? About around 63 games, scoring three
yeah, and he just
goals.
scored only 3 goals. That's
That's
dismal for a striker.
for a striker. So that tells you something is fundamentally wrong.
Mm,
There is no club in this world would want to sign such a striker. And how would his success?
just
25,
25. Yeah.
right? 25. 25 is not too bad, right? You're not too old for any club to look at you. But at 25, if you're not banging in the goals, you're scoring 3 goals in a season, then there's a problem. Or in 2 seasons, there's a problem. You know, there's a
Mm,
fundamental problem, and that's why many clubs are not giving him the look in.
mm,
So, but for him to have moved from Watford, I think it was the best decision. Probably he needs to go and find himself again. He needs to go and rediscover himself from wherever he needs to go, and bring back himself to the top flight. I would have preferred if he had gone to maybe the Spanish league, where he would get some more playing time and he would get more visibility. But for Udinese, we can only wait to see. You know,
And
if
obviously, you know that Udinese have got this connection with Watford anyway. I think they are owned by the same owners. And obviously, because just like you mentioned, if he had gone back to Spain, where he actually played for Granada, that's where Watford brought him from. It wasn't. It wasn't too good. It wasn't too bad at Granada, because I think his best time he actually spent playing football was actually with Granada, the B team, where he scored some
Very true.
goals in here,
Very
and
true.
obviously got promoted to the senior team. But just like you said, he's on probably on what you call a last chance saloon.
Mm.
You know, because he needs to do, he needs to get back to what he should be doing. I mean, because football, it's not going to last forever, is it?
Never, never. Football is not going to last
Uh,
forever because he just needs to get himself, rediscover himself, and then come back again. At 25, he's still quite young.
hmm.
Um, if you consider the ages of Zlat, just I think it was yesterday or the day before, Zlatan
He's celebrating.
Ibrahimovic
Yeah,
was celebrated. You know, so and you begin to wonder if you are 25 or you are half his age, and then you can't do more, then there's a problem, right? Your professionalism should be checked, right?
hmm.
Football is
Hmm.
very simple. It's straightforward. Hard
Hmm.
work, professionalism. You know, y- you have to get the balance. Whatever it is that
Hmm.
you're doing, you need to get the balance. You just cannot not take your career seriously. You know, you need to be very, very careful with your career, especially for strikers. If you lose form, there are people who are waiting to take your slot immediately.
There.
You know, and
Yeah.
then it takes coaches to believe in you before they bring you on again. You know.
Hmm. Professor Namdi Medici, thank you for joining us on the show. Excuse me, and joining us on LinkedIn. Please, LinkedIn is not offline. So, Professor Medici said the first contribution is that work-play balance is where coaches come in as far as football is concerned. Obviously, we'll say yes, but I think the key thing will be the player themselves. You know,
Mm.
because if you are showing an example, showing that seriousness, obviously, then you would. I mean, we wouldn't talk about the other side of not playing, because we've got quite a lot of black players in Watford anyway. True second is there. Emmanuel Dennis has come from Belgium and is doing well. Like Ismail Assar, it's been a revelation this season, just like he was last season. So far,
Yeah.
this season has been the best player. I think just like you said, Amos, he needs to go back and rediscover himself, not just for himself, but obviously for his fans out there. People, that saw that brilliance, those flashes of brilliance in him back in the days when, I mean, this guy should be a regular starter in the Super
Honestly.
Eagles, but it's a shame that. He's gone that way. And again, Professor Medici said, should coaches get this sacked for losing a few games? If so, what should be the threshold? Three strikes and you're. Maybe we need to ask the owners at what for that to say what's the threshold for. I don't know what the threshold, what the contract with Ranieri says. I apparently signed a 2-year contract, which is not bad. I mean, we all know that Watford in the next 2 years they probably will be saying bye bye Ranieri, so they won't have to pay him off on that contract. But um, I think you've got a point there, Professor Medici. People
Would they even
should
allow him last 2 years? So that's the thing. Like,
no. So that's the thing. He brought them from the Championship to the Premier League. He wasn't doing too bad, but just
yeah,
like I was listening to some analysis about the day he was sacked, uh, there's too much negativity, in that team, and at that point, just like it happened to Chelsea with Frank Lampard and
yeah,
Antonio Conte before Lampard, if there's too much negativity, there's always a player's power that will
Yeah.
prevail. And at the end, you can't sack all the players. There's only one person you can sack, and that will
And
be the
then
manager.
and then some people also, there's this thought that, oh, probably former players like Troy Deeney, who used to be household name at the club, and then some older players who probably were asked their opinions, and then everyone is just trying to guess, right? Could it be that the
Hmm,
management spoke with some of the players who are the
hmm,
older members of the team, and then maybe they've lost confidence in the coach or in the manager to back him to take them to the promised land, or is it that he's lost steam? What exactly is going on? But for me, I still believe that is way, way too early to let the manager go.
hmm,
He's not
hmm.
doing that bad. Some teams have not won a game. Some teams have not even secured the points. Some teams are just languishing below you. And then, but it's again, it depends on, we all don't know what the performance indicators were for the club, or what the performance indicator is for them. Say, okay, how
Do
many
Watford have performance indicators? Would they ever have that?
you never can tell, you never can tell. It could be, oh, when once the league starts, if you don't hit certain numbers, if you don't
Hmm,
win a couple of games, if you're not at XYZ points, we might have to end the relationship. It might
hmm,
just, we never can tell. We never can tell, except we have details of the contract to say, oh, but it's just unfortunate that this is happening at this time, because the man thought he was already, I read his comments, and he says he was already fine home at Watford, and
hmm.
all of a sudden it came to an end and all. But that's how it is. We know football coaching is just one of those jobs that comes with hiring and firing. There is nothing guaranteed. Not the next minute you're asked to leave, the next minute you're not sure what's going on. If you look at the history of some coaches back at Chelsea, they were sacked from the stadium. Chelsea is a very funny club. That's like the old Chelsea. And that's how coaching is. The job is never secure. If anything
Hmm.
goes bad, is you're the one in front. Your head got to roll for it. You take the fall for the team, and that's very unfortunate that the coach had to go.
Very unfortunate I had to go. Amos, we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we're going to go into our dear old Super Eagles. We've got some games coming up. The international break obviously is on at the moment. Super Eagles, I've got some players already in camp preparing for Central African Republic, CAR. The first game at Teslim Balogun Stadium in Lagos. So we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we're going to delve straight into the Super Eagles. Stay there. Welcome back. It's the Football Show Monday. My name is Wale. I'm still here and with my colleague, Amos Joseph. We've been talking so much about, well, the Premier League, and we talked about Nigerian boys and the new man at the helm of Watford. That's Claudio Ranieri. What's going to be his magic wand? Is he going to do another Leicester? Well, time will time will surely tell. And if he does that, oh my lord, that will be some great achievement on the part of Claudio Ranieri. So we said we're going to talk about the Super Eagles when we come back, and of course, yes, we've got the Super Eagles playing Central African Republic on the 7th of October. That's in about 3 days' time at Teslim Balogun Stadium, and the second leg to come up in Douala, Cameroon. Douala, Cameroon is where the Central African Republic team play their games, their home matches at the moment. So, Amos, we've got the NFF release. Well, not the NFF, actually, the manager, the technical advisor, what head coach, whatever you want to call him, Gerard Rohr, released a team, a list of about 23 players. We've got the usuals, the Uzos, Akpeyi, Okoye, who are the goalkeepers, Awaziem, Omero, Balogun, Chusekong, Ola, Jamie Collins, Abdullahi Shehu, and a newbie, Calvin Bassey from Rangers. We're going to talk about Calvin in a minute. And obviously, the midfielders, Franco Yeager at Brentford, they call him Frank the Tank at Brentford. Joseph Aribo, Innocent Bonke, Alex Iwobi, who obviously dropped out and been replaced by someone else, came to Shina Ianacho also. We also got Ahmed Musa, Samuel Kalu, Victor Sime, who is really doing well with Napoli at the moment. Moses Simon, Paul Onuachu, who's also doing extremely well with Genk in Belgium, and Chidera Ejuke. So Alex Iwobi was injured, so replaced by Terem Murphy. Terem also got injured when he played for Lorient in the game. And then we have a new person called Taiwo Awini, who plays for Union Berlin, who obviously has also been doing very well in the German Bundesliga. Let's just talk about that list, those people that have come in. And obviously the new kid on the block there, apart from Taiwo Awini, is Calvin Bassey, who plays for Glasgow Rangers in Scotland, a teammate of Leon Balogun and Joseph Aribo. He plays as a wing back, and he can also play as a central defender. Is this the time to start experimenting with, because at the moment we seem to have a settled back four, back five, back whatever you want to call it, and obviously the goalkeeper. But is this the time to start experimenting with bringing in a newbie, Calvin Bassey, to the team?
I'll say that's left to Coach Gerard Rohr, because the responsibility, it's all his responsibility, right? If we say, oh, why are you inviting a new player to the squad, we might just not be giving him enough chance to justify himself as the manager, right? So at the end of the day, what normally happens with the Nigeria national team, senior national team, is we will get to the Nations Cup, right? We will qualify, and he's so certain that he's going to qualify. So he's just trying to look at his options. I'll just make a mention on some of the things he usually say about the General used to say about the forward line. He said something. He said the same people who are calling for the inclusion of one player are the same people who call for the inclusion of another player. And that's when
Exactly.
people ask him, oh, why is Onuachu in the team? Why is Taiwo Awuni not in the team? Why is this player not in the team? And then he says, oh, you cannot have everybody in the team at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll bring it back to this one. But I feel like we've got enough option as well, in that right back position. We've got Aino, you've got Sheu, so I'm still trying to figure out where exactly he is thinking of playing this young guy he's bringing on board now. But hey, Kenoro is the coach. Let him do whatever he likes. And I like to give coaches chance, because we don't have an idea what it is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
is going on between, there's always something fishy, there's always something not clear with the national team and Lars and the NFF, so,
Mm-hmm.
and you just begin to wonder, why can't they just fire this guy? But and then you now look at it again and you now look at it again and say, oh, they can't fire him because, hey, he's taking them, he's delivering on
The
performance, right?
goods, yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
what is much more important is performance, performance, performance. So if it feels like, oh, look at, if you want to judge him based on his current performance, look at the last two games. He's not done so bad, right?
Mhm.
He's delivered 3 points, three
Yep.
points, and that's 6 points in two games. What else should we ask for? So if the coach says the only thing he has not asked for is for us to give him money to buy a player, right?
As
Which is
if.
not possible for national team. If it was possible, we're having this discussion earlier about the central midfielder, or maybe the attacking midfielder role. If only we could afford to get a player from somewhere else, we would have shopped
Mm,
in a player. But let him just have his way. Let him bring on whoever he wants to bring on to his team. He is the manager, he's the technical advisor, or whatever he's called. Let him have his way and do the magic he wants to perform. But it will be very interesting to see this kid, because I think he's about 21, I think. Um,
yeah.
so he's a very young player. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around, why is he being invited to the national team, to the senior national team? What has he done to justify his call up?
Mm,
What have we seen of him? How
mm,
many games, what top games have we seen him?
mm,
Is our senior national team becoming another grooming field for players, which is something
mm,
that we've always criticized about. But
mm,
again, he's the manager. Let him have his
mm,
way. Let him
yeah.
deliver with whichever player he deems fit. That's what
Mm.
I'm just going to say about the inclusion of the young player.
Yeah, he's played just 10 games for Rangers, but he's not done too bad. Whenever I see him play, he seems to be a a player for the future, I must say. It's so funny because the guy can play anywhere in the back four, and he was born in Italy, and he
Mm,
could have qualified to play for Italy. He could probably also qualified to play in England for the English team because he played in Leicester at some time in his career,
yeah.
and before now joining the Glasgow team Rangers. So hopefully we see what he can do. Again, we are playing Central African Republic, so that could be an opportunity for him to stake a claim to uh, those worrisome position in the back four. But there is one thing you also said, just like you said when we had a discussion earlier, when we talked about the fact that Nigerians seem to lack that creativity going forward, attacking midfielder. I know we discussed this a day or two ago. What do you think the coaches and the scouts should be doing at the moment? Should they be shopping for any player now that is born to any Nigerian mother or Nigerian father, even if the grandfather is Nigerian? I remember I was talking to my daughter the other day, and she said to me, "Oh, it's unfortunate that Ross Barkley's already played for England. You guys should have got him." And I'm thinking, "Oh yeah, Ross Barkley. Well, it's got a trace of Nigerian in him." But where do we look now to get an attacking midfielder? Because we seriously need a player of that caliber. Because if you look at our midfield, we always have the same um, style of players. Look at the Ndidis, Table, Bonhe. They're all same type of player. We lack the type of flair that JJ Okocha usually brings to the team, the kind of flair that probably Kanu can also adapt to playing as an attacking midfielder and some of the old players of old. Um, should we be looking, or should the coach be adapting to the situation, or probably converting um, some player in the team at the moment to an attacking midfielder? What should he be doing?
So I feel like wherever it is that we can find talents, as long as they're Nigerians and they've associated with Nigeria, they deserve to be called up if they want to play for Nigeria. Um, Over the years, we've just struggled to provide or to discover players in that mold of, we're never going to have another JJ Okocha. So let us cast
Okay,
our
true.
mind off that. So we're never going to have another JJ Okocha. We're never going to have another Wilson Oruma. We're never going to have
Mm,
another Christian Obodo. Those kind of midfielders who we had in the past,
mm,
who had flair, who had creativity, their passing accuracies, they could do magic. We
mm,
we simply lack those kind of midfielders at this time, and it's unfortunate. When Alex Iwobi came into the Super Eagles, a lot was on his shoulders. People were like, "Oh, I think we found him. We found no," but when he came, the man gradually drifted from the middle down to the wings. And then if you
Yeah.
look at him at Arsenal again, he struggled. He was always going from the wing, coming to the middle. It was not certain where exactly. And then when it comes to the national team, Genero also struggled to play him on the wings or in the middle. So what we should be doing is what Genero is doing already. He has brought on Joseph Aribo. It feels like, okay, Joseph Aribo can be instrumental going forward, connecting with the attack. But hey, African football, Joseph Aribo, look at him in the last game, in the last game, he struggled. And that's
Yeah.
the reality. And that's African, that's typical African football for you.
Mm, mm,
If you don't understand how to play those games, you're going to really struggle. You need someone who can do magic, someone who will never be off on it. Even on his day, is going to still create some magic. And that's where we're so blessed with someone like Kelechi Iheanacho. Honestly, he could play as a forward. He could come into the middle, support the midfield, get the balls forward to the striker, and your strikers are going to struggle. They are going to have to do a lot of work. If you don't have those kind of creative midfielders who can do magic. At some point, we had Rabiu. What's his name now? Rabiu. Rabiu was
Ibrahim.
Yes, Rabiu Ibrahim, and everybody thought that it was going to be the next JJ Okocha, but hey, gradually he lost it, and the man was struggling at some point. Now he plays somewhere in I think somewhere in Europe, but not main Europe.
Hmm.
So I think it's Bulgaria or thereabout. So we struggle to have we've been struggling to get someone in that mode. So what all the coaches have been doing is just look for a defensive midfielder in the mode of Ndidi, and now Ndidi is injured. Etebo is injured. So we are back to
Hmm.
what happened on our away game in
Hmm.
Sierra Leone. Yeah. So we need to remain very creative. You know, if these guys cannot play, if this guy is injured, what do you do? Sometimes we should always cut the coaches some slack, or we should give them some credit for being able to come up quickly with a solution. But that's their job anyway. That's their job. They're being paid to do.
Yeah.
Every time it doesn't work, what do you do? But one thing that a lot of people have also criticized Raw for is we seem not to have a playing pattern. We seem not to have a playing style to say, oh, this is how the Super Eagles are playing. In the past, while I was growing up, or maybe at your own time when you were watching the Super Eagles, you could tell from your
Well done, though, Amos.
you could tell that, oh, this is how the Super Eagles usually play. This
Oh
is the
yeah,
style they
definitely.
will play. Oh, they will play to
Mm,
the wings. You've got Sunday Olise in the middle. You've got Samson
mm-hmm.
Siasia. You've got JJ Okocha. You've got Tajani Babangida. You've got on the left,
Makachi
you've
and
got
all that,
Amonike. You've got
Siasia and
Amakachi.
all.
So,
Yeah.
it's exciting to watch. It's
Mm, mm.
exciting. But honestly, the Super Eagles is boring to watch.
It
Boring.
is.
There's no excitement. There is no But one thing that goes on well for the team and has been working for the team is the togetherness, and that's
Yeah.
how they've been complementing for the pitfalls, or maybe let's say for the minors that they have. Um,
Mm,
what they've not been able to achieve, they make up for it with the togetherness that is in the team. Guerrero has been able to achieve that stability. He's been able to put the team together. They fight together. You see this team spirit, but every time they go out and they win 1-0, they win 2-0, it makes it very difficult for you to criticize the team or for you to
yeah.
critique the team, because what do you want? Victory, right? They've got
Mm,
it,
yeah.
right?
They've got to. They've got to. Exactly. And another player that's well, has been called up, just was it yesterday or just today? Is Taiwo Uni, who plays for Union Berlin in Germany. He's been doing extremely well for his team. Just yesterday, he scored the 101 goals for Union Berlin in the Bundesliga, which is quite exciting. And that's
Hmm.
another player that we've been thinking, oh, when is he going to be his time? He's played the under 17, under 20. When is he going to be his time? He's, was snapped up by Liverpool. It didn't work well with him with Liverpool. Went out on loans. Now he's found a very stable home in Union, and he's doing really well. And he's got called up. Um, I wouldn't is someone I actually, and I say this without mincing words. He kind of reminds me of the late Rashidi Yakini. I mean, the way he plays, he's all about scoring goals. If there's an opportunity, he's going to score the goal anyway. Um, what do you think he's going to bring to the Super Eagles now? Don't forget that Super Eagles attacking department is so full. We've got the Osime, we've got Kelechi Iheanacho, Onuachu is there, and now Awoni is coming in. It's jam packed, and there's no way we can play all four strikers at the same time. There's no way we can do that. But I think, do you think Awoni is going to give something different to that national team that probably Osime or probably Iheanacho cannot give? You mentioned that Iheanacho can always go drift back, get the ball from the midfield, then to launch the attack, which he's very good at. Awoni coming to the Super Eagles, are we going to expect anything different from him?
Honestly, when I saw the news that Awoni was to replace Terry Murphy, I'm like, oh, Terry Murphy got injured. Terry Murphy was a replacement himself.
Yeah.
He
So
was
the replacement replacing the replacement.
Honestly speaking, Taiwo Awoni, if you look at him back in his if you trace it back to his under 17 days, you just understand the kind of striker that he was or that he is. He's an out and out striker. He's top nine. He's a definition of a striker. When in the old times when they say, oh, we need a striker, a center forward. That Taiwo Awoni is a center forward. If you look at the goals that he has scored for Union Berlin, you will just know that this guy is just a Yakini, another Yakini.
Yes.
He bulldozes his way through, and then he uses his arm, he uses his body, his physique, and everything to get a goal. And he's also his positioning is very, very good. It's very good that we have all of those headaches at the attacking options, at that department. And that's one of the most headache that's the department that gives Guerrero the most headache, because imagine you've got Terry Murphy or Noachu or Sime, and all of these guys are banging in the goals. They are all scoring goals. So it makes it very difficult for the coach. But what is going to be different is the kind of option it gives you is every time you put up two strikers, you need someone who can link up. Now, I'm going to cast our mind back to under 17, when Kelechi Iheanacho was playing right behind Taiwo Awoniyi, how the passes were flowing, or how you just enjoy the free flowing football. Taiwo Awoniyi and Kelechi Iheanacho were linking up well, and that tells you the kind of player Kelechi Iheanacho is. He's a very versatile player. Kelechi Iheanacho can play on the wing, he can play in the middle, he can strike, he can be a striker, and that is very good option for us. So bringing on someone like Taiwo Awoniyi, there's nothing too different that you're going to see, except for the fact that he's sharper than Onuachu. I can tell you, if Taiwo Awoniyi should get playing time in the national team, in the senior national team, he's going to also be a lion like Osimhen. Imagine having Taiwo Awoniyi at the same time you're having Osimhen. They're going to bulldoze their way through. These guys are hungry for goals. These guys are, and that's what you want. You want your attacking line. And these guys, the beauty about this is that they are young and they've got that energy. They are ready to run all 90 minutes. So any defender who's going to mark these guys will be aware that, hey, I'm in for a very tough job today. Whoever is going to mark them, I'll be really glad to watch that Awoniyi play in one of the games, whether in the home game or in the away game. I'll be really glad to see him and see what he can do. But Taiwo Awoniyi didn't settle in on time. And to answer or to put to bed the question of why he hasn't been invited all along. Taiwo Awoniyi didn't settle in on time. When he
Yeah.
got to Liverpool, he had to be loaned out, and then
Mm.
yeah, it took him time to find himself coming back again to Liverpool and then going back again on loan to Mainz. Look at the goal he scored. He couldn't celebrate because
Mm.
Mainz used to
Against
be
his
his
team,
home.
the whole
He
team.
scored, he scored twice against his old
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
He was quite, and then he just stood there. Was like, "What's I go do now?
Uh,
How am I going to celebrate?" So it was emotional
wow.
for him as well. But
Hmm.
I'll be really happy to see him link up with the rest of the squad. He's someone who's a very hard worker. He's not. He doesn't. You don't find him here and there. You don't find him. I'm not saying guys who use socials are not, but you don't find him on all those social platform joking
Exactly.
around.
He
He's
seems
very focused.
to be his own man and very focused. That,
Very
and that's
focused.
true what you've mentioned because I see quite a lot of Nigerian players, what they do. Awuni is, and he's a very humble guy, very respectful. I've had occasions to chat with him. I've had occasions to talk to him, and he seems very easygoing, willing to listen. And like I said, very very respectful, which is a credit to him. Question: Can Awuni, Osime, and Iheanacho play together in the same team? In the same Super Eagles team now. And bear in mind that if they probably are going to play together, then Roa will have to do something about his organizational formation. So can those three, and I feel pity for any team that's going to encounter those three at the same time. I feel pity for them. But do you think they can play together, all three of them, in the same
It's
team?
like asking if you can have Ronaldo, right? Jordan Sancho, Paul Pogba, and Bruno at the same time, you know,
Mm.
and then maybe, so it's
Cavani.
and then maybe Cavani. It is very possible. See, when the odds come to let's put it in, let's put everything in, and then let's get whatever it is result that we need, you just have to play with whatever it is that you have. If
Mhm.
you've got those players, I'm trying to get into General's head now to say if you want to try something, if you really want to play two strikers up front, don't play Ekelechi Iheanacho and Osimhen together. Play Taiwo Awoniyi and Osimhen, and then let
Yeah,
Kelechi
Kelechi
Iheanacho fill
behind.
that number 10 spot that we've been
Mm.
struggling to fill. But another thing
Mm.
is, would you not be destroying Kelechi Iheanacho's flow if you drop him back to the middle? Considering
Mm.
that if he gets back to Leicester City, is needed up front,
Yeah.
can he quickly adjust or readjust again? But honestly, if I was a coach, I would really want to see how that would think. I would really want to see how that would work for the team. Bring on Kelechi Iheanacho, let him play behind these two strikers. Is like a number 10 position. You have Taiwo Awoniyi play number 8, Osimhen play number 9, and then you have your right wing and left wingers, you know, put an Iwobi to the left if possible, and put a Moses Simon on the right wing. But you also have the likes of Chidera Ejuke, you have Joseph, it becomes more competitive. And I'm so happy that we've got this option. And these guys are very young. They are all young guns looking to get their own, looking to make their stand in the Super Eagles. But again, that's where the job of the coach comes in. How is
Mm.
he able to blend these guys together? How is he able to get the result? The only problem I have with the Super Eagles is not in the attack, is no longer in the heart of the midfield, but the defense. If we play against a very tough opposition, if we play against a very rugged attacking side, or maybe in the mode of an Algeria, a
Or Morocco.
Morocco, or an Egyptian side, or a Senegalese
Mm.
side, are we not going to crumble? So I'm really looking forward to a match of that mode where where our defense would really be tested. They've been really solid. The Oyibo Wars has really been solid recently.
The Oyibo Wars.
The Oyibo War has been solid. Leon Balogun and Trust Ekong
True
really been
Stecom.
solid.
Yeah.
I must
Hmm.
say, in the last 2 games or 3 games, they've been very solid. But if we get tested, can we stand the test? I'm really waiting to see. But let's wait to see how General is going to bring in Taiwo Awoniyi. Is he just inviting him for inviting him sake? You know,
Mm,
that might also be another thing. We've seen Onuachu how he often struggles to make his own when
mm.
it comes to the national team. He's not a bad player. He might just
No,
not be
stop. Well,
functioning with what is currently going on in the current
mm,
national team. He might
mm,
just not he might not just click with the style of play. We're not a
yeah.
team that does cross and nod. We're not a team that does
Mm.
look at what Tottenham has been doing recently. In the game against Arsenal, Tottenham were literally pulling out like from the back to Hurricane, from the back to Hurricane, because they know that they want to exploit the defense of the opponents. So they kept launching forward, they kept launching, and it worked for them over the weekend. It worked for them over the weekend. But do we want to do that at Nigeria? In Nigeria, do we want to do that? Who do you have playing at
Mm.
the back? Onuachu is someone who can really hold the ball, right? If you play such a style, you would hold the ball and lay to the other man. Just give him that role. But I don't think General is ready to take some
Do
risk. He's
that
not
now.
he's not that kind of coach. He doesn't want to take
Mm.
some risk. He wants to go out and win. The Nigerian job is a very tough one. No,
It
don't joke
is.
with Nigerians.
My producer Yemi just reminded me that those three actually played together on the under 23 when they tried to qualify us for the Olympics in 2016. Thanks for that, Yomi. And also, Yomi also mentioned something very valid here and said we're in need of a number 10. Whatever happened to Wakali?
Yeah,
I know he's playing in the Segunda Liga or second division in the
Spain.
Spanish league. But it seems to be someone we can also look at. The fact that he plays for a second division team don't actually matter. But if he is able to do the job for the Super Eagles, why not? Why not when we have and the other thing I have issues with Gilroy and NFF is this. When we have friendlies, okay, why do you also always need to bring the regulars in to play friendlies? Try out new people, okay? The people like Wakali, even players in the local league. Anayo is going to experience and he's doing well in experience Denise. Try out those boys down head of, especially where you're struggling to fill players in. There's no way you bring all these players together that you will not be able to see at least one of them that will be able to complement what you've got. We're talking about the Super Eagles not having an attacking midfield at the moment. But if we look inwards, to look outside, we'll be able to do that. I mean, there's so many friendlies we're able to put together. Even if we are going to play a friendly against Benin, all you
Mm,
need to do is actually find that person that you could
yeah.
probably mold. And that's one of the negatives I kind of found in Garoa because he seems to be a very good man manager. Okay, he's able to build that cohesion when it comes to managing players. But when it comes to
The tactical
the
side, yeah.
tactical aspect of football, I don't see him as quality. I bet to differ, but I don't know what other people think about. But I really don't see him as quality. We got, and the issue I find out with the Nigerian setup is you have a technical advisor, head coach, manager, whatever you want to call Gilroy. That's a good man manager. You should be able to have an assistant that is very good tactically. Okay, I don't know how sound Joseph Yobo is as a tactician. When it comes to being an assistant, I do not know. I know Yobo was a fantastic player, Everton and
Yeah.
Standard Liège and whatever, and of course for the Super Eagles, brilliant player. But as a tactical person, technician in that Super Eagles team, that's something I struggle to believe or adapt to. But I might be wrong. That's just my opinion.
Someone, Dr. Kelechi just mentioned again, Medici. So
Yeah,
he said something about home base too. The thing with home base is I'll cast our mind back to
Cape
Anayo
Verde.
Iwala. Anayo
Yeah.
Iwala.
Mm.
Now, Raw always makes this point that every time he invites a home base player to the national team, they end up leaving for Europe. or they leave
Mhm.
somewhere else.
Well, that's always been like that, even from time immemorial. Anyway,
And it makes it difficult to get those players back if they don't sign for top clubs. If
Mhm.
those players don't sign for top clubs, maybe I'm not saying Experience is not a top club, but the reality is, where is Anayo? Like, Anayo should be in this squad that is being invited to play CAR.
Yeah.
Anayo should be in this squad. Like, why should you be playing Central African Republic and you're not bringing Anayo to come and play? So,
Mm.
and okay, let's say, oh, the home based, the league at home, the MPFL is on break. What about the guys who are playing out of Nigeria? Why are you scared to bring them on? And that's the thing I
Mm.
say about Gennaro. He doesn't want. He's not a coach that takes risk. He doesn't want to take any risk. He only looks at those guys who he feels can deliver the job for him. Now Anayo has gone to Esperance. He'll be tough to give him a look in again, honestly. Except he does something
Mm.
extraordinary in Egypt, or in Tunisia rather. If
Tunisia.
he
Yeah.
doesn't do anything extraordinary, so it makes it really really difficult to defend these guys. And Raw for himself, he doesn't make his own job easy. When he doesn't come with this technical aspect of the game, when you expect, sometimes you expect Raw to make some changes in maybe like 60 minutes, and then Raw has to wait till about 75 minutes before he makes a change. The man is not ready to joke with his job. He's not ready to make any mistake. So all he wants is 3 points, and he's going to do whatever it takes to give you that 3 points.
But suppose when you want to keep your job, and just like you said, you want to do anything to keep your job. And I remember when Westhoff was the Nigerian technical advisor, and when he knew Westhoff was a very clever person, very smart. He knew what he was good at was man management. And what did he do? He got Bonfrey Joe, who knew the tactical aspect of football, and
Hmm.
brought him as an assistant until eventually Bonfrey Joe obviously took over later. So I mean, if you know that you want to keep your job at all means, listen, it's either a wins AFCON in Cameroon. We're tired, seriously, we're tired of third position, and we're tired of being booted out by the North Africans. It's either it wins it, or it qualifies us for the World Cup and gets us to the quarterfinals. Otherwise, bye bye to get raw. Because the thing is, just like you said, I watch Super Eagles nowadays, and I'm thinking, "Ugh, I'm so bored. No, we're so predictable. We are. That's the truth. We're so predictable, and this is not. It has nothing to do with our players. We got super players. Look at the players we mentioned. Leon Balogun plays nearly every match for Rangers. Truce Ekong is like mainstay for a
Regular.
Premier League team. A
Yeah.
Premier League team. Forget the fact that they're 15. This guy plays
Mhm.
against the Hurricanes, the
Cristiano
Lukaku's,
Ronaldo, everybody.
Ronaldo's.
Yeah.
What could be better than that? All right. We've seen the Awoni that scores in the Bundesliga. We have the Osimhen. I don't know. It's probably one of the hottest in the world now. So we would say we lack players. What at this moment I think we lack is just that ability to provide a template for these guys to play football, and don't make them boring, make them exciting again. And that's what I think. And obviously, Professor Madichi just said to me, just agreed with what I've just said. And I said, yes, so win AFCON or bye bye. And I think that will be the blueprint, just like we said about Watford. That will be the blueprint for Roa. Win the AFCON or hasta la
Move
vista.
on.
All right, hasta la vista, and that's it. Bye bye. Well, Amos,
You think
1
we can
hour
win
has
the
just
AFCON?
gone. Do you think we can? That's the big question. Do you think we can? I mean, with Mo Salah playing the way he's playing, I mean, all Egypt needs to do is just give Musala the ball. That's it. I just like he did yesterday against Man City. Just give him the ball. That's it. Every other
I think
person sit back and
we've
watch.
got good players. Actually, we've got good players. We've got good players. Really,
So
we've got good
we
players.
just need a good manager. That's
Yeah.
what we need. I think Nigeria is so blessed nowadays. We're talking about we don't have the attacking midfield, but a technically sound manager will be able to look at the players we've got. We'll be able to look like at the likes of Iana Cho.
Yeah.
Look at someone like Pep Guardiola. Pep will play a Ryan Sterling as the top nine.
Mhm.
A Sus playing from the right.
Playing
Jesus
from the wing.
Gabriel Jesus is a striker. He plays it from the right or the left. He plays Gundogan, Aika Gundogan as a striker,
Top
and he
striker.
gets the job done. So
That's the same
that's
thing.
the
That's
coach.
the same thing I was saying about, you know,
Ian Cho, no,
that's yes, you just have to come
you know,
creative. I've not
and,
seen
and, and be
General
risky. Take the
doing that.
risk.
I've not seen
You know,
General doing that. I've not seen him
you
doing
know.
that. That's the job of a
And
coach. That's why you're the coach. Do the
I know.
magic.
Apologies. I'm comparing him now with Pep Guardiola. Pep
No.
Guardiola is
You're not.
obviously,
You're not comparing. You're only saying
you
what
know,
coaches do, right? You're not really
exactly,
comparing. You're only saying what coaches do. These are the things that we see top coaches do. You need to think
exactly.
at the squad and then look at, okay, how can I make this guy function here?
Hmm.
Kelechi Iheanacho can be a 10. He can play a number 10 for Nigeria.
Exactly.
And then you have two strikers. You have a Kelechi Iheanacho as a number 10, and it's going to work magic. You've got other options on the bench for the top nine position. If any of them gets injured, you bring on another person. We've got
Another
Emmanuel
person.
Dennis as well, who's playing at the top level as well.
Exactly.
You've got
So,
you've got them everywhere. But our team is rather filled with players whom we are not sure of. We're not, we have to wait for Ahmed Musa to join another club and then you bring him on. I'm not saying Ahmed Musa should not be in the squad, but if he doesn't deserve to be in the team, don't put him. Let him let
exactly.
him let him find himself and then you bring him back on. But it's Nigeria.
It is Nigeria. Hopefully, we'll be reviewing our first leg against CAR on next week because we're playing
Yeah,
them in 3 days' time on the 7th,
yeah.
and hopefully we get a win there, and we'll be able to see all these players we've mentioned today in action. We said they will do us proud, and we will to come back on next Monday and review what they've done. But that's us done for this week, Amos. Thank you so much for joining us and for coming to discuss this. It's been quite interesting. I mean, talking about football, you can always talk about football for the next 24 hours. You will never get bored about it. We won't be as boring as Guinness was Super Eagles. I'm
I
sure about
mean,
that.
I'm surprised we've talked for 1 hour actually.
And when you talk football, it's always like that. Thank you so much for coming, Amos.
All right, thank
It's
you.
really a pleasure chatting football with you. Thank you also for everyone that's been there and watching us from LinkedIn. Sorry, Facebook is out of order, as they say. Instagram is also same. Very little we can do about that. But I hope you've enjoyed the show today, the Football Show Monday. If you did, please join us next week, Monday, when we'll be reviewing the Super Eagles and obviously some other African qualifiers. Okay? And I'll leave you with Nigerian national anthem.
Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound, one nation bound, one nation and you.